A few weeks ago, I made these flowers for my Uggo vase, and they were very popular, and a lot of people asked me, well, how can you make flowers that are multicoloured rather than just black? And I obviously made these quite gothic-y. So what I'm going to show you is how you can get some good two-tone effects with your flowers really simply. And you won't believe how easy this method is to get some great effects. So what I'm starting with is some origami paper as normal. This is what I usually use. It's brilliant paper for this. I've got my greens separated because I'm colourblind, and if not, I wouldn't know which ones were the greens. I think I'm going to make some quite bright flowers. So these are the colours I'm going to use. I'm only going to use one sheet of each because I'm going to make 3 different flowers, and this will make 3 different coloured flowers. And the reason I've got all 3 sheets together is because that's how I'm going to cut them. I never bother with a particular size. All I do is I take a compass, think of my largest size that I'm going to make for these petals is probably about that size. Draw a circle, so I'll get 3 of those, knock that down a little bit, so that's going to be smaller than that. Let's check. Yeah, that's nice size. 3 of those, and then I'll continue doing that. I like to have 6 or 7 layers. I'll just use some scissors. I'll cut them all out at once, making sure that they're all nice and level. Go down there. So I cut all 3 out at the same time, and that way you get all 3 pieces for each of the flowers. Well, now our 3 are cut out and they're all there in individual colours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix these up a little bit. I'm going to do 3 different techniques with these to show you how to get some multicoloured flowers. So the next thing we need to do is to fold these and cut them out. Now this is really simple. Fold it in half like that, and then fold it in half again. There we go. So you've got it like that. Look at that. You've got that fold there. Then take this bit here, fold that over to there, turn it over, this bit here, and fold it over to there, and it gives you that shape. And that's when we decide how we're going to put the flower in. And again, it doesn't have to be exact. So all of them, I'm going to fold in exactly this same way, and then cut the flowers out like that. And I'll show you what that will look like once it's cut out. So each one is going to look like that. And I'm going to do the same pattern for all of them. They're all cut out. They didn't take many seconds at all to cut out. Now, I'm just going to push these 2 to one side because it's this one that I'm going to build and show you. And then I'll do the other ones off camera. I've kept them all in the size order. Now, the first one, I don't really do much with, other than I curl over the ends of the flowers using the scissors like this between my thumb. So thumb there, scissors there, and gently pull them through. And then those flowers will curl over. And I'll do them all like that. I'll keep them in order of size because it's easier for me to do the next bit, that's all. Now they're all finished, what I'll do is, that one I don't do anything with. And this one, what I will do is I will cut one whole petal out, move that around, and then I will glue those 2 together. So I've got a cone like that. I use white glue for this rather than the glue gun, as I said before in my previous video, because it glues really quickly, paper together. It dries clear, and also it doesn't leave you with all those strings and things. So there we go, that's all glued together. And then the next one, well, I took 1 out of that one, so this one I will take 2 out, and then this one I'll do 3, and then that last one I'll do 5. All you do is cut them down to the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, bit of glue, and twist that one in. Now these are all dry. What I need to do is make the centerpiece, and all I've got here is a piece of paper, the scraps off where I cut the circles out, folded it in half, and then I cut little bits so it's nice and frayed like that. And I'll go all the way down that whole length. And now we've got that nicely frayed. All I have to do, and this is where I do use a glue gun, is I'll roll that back on itself, and then I use my glue gun, pop a little bit of glue there, and then close that up. Let that cool off, and then open it up. And I use my fingers to open this up a bit, and it opens up really well. And then that one goes in the middle of the smallest one. And again, I will use the glue gun, put that one in, and that'll stay in there. What I need to do before I put this one together is start the two-tone, so it gives it a bit more colour on the ends. What I've got here is a little tub of just normal household bleach, and what I'm going to do is paint a little bit onto these tips all the way around. Some a little bit more than others. Now, work in a well-ventilated area. You don't want to be breathing in bleach. It is a chemical after all. And also put some gloves on and a bit of eye protection as well. It won't look much different to start with, but once it's dry, you'll really start to see the difference. And this is quite thick bleach, so it doesn't run everywhere, apart from where I'm making a mess on here. But what you'll find is that will take out the colour quite drastically from these tips and gives them a great two-tone effect. You can dip them in, but I think that puts too much on and gives too much of a straight line, and you wouldn't have a straight line in nature. Making the stem is really easy. All I do is cut a strip off here, so I've got a nice strip of paper, and then wind it around, hold it back on itself, and roll it down all the way. Not too tight, but tight enough so it keeps its shape. And when I get to the corner, that again is where I use my glue gun. Pop a little triangle on there, and then roll it back on itself, and that will stick that nicely to there. I make smaller ones for the leaves, and I put 2 leaves on them, and how I do that is I cut across there like that. Now I'll cut this piece of paper into roughly 3, wind one down for the stem. For the leaves, I take the piece of paper, fold it in half. I want a nice quite sharp seam on that, so I rub that down quite high. Then I put a bit there like that, because that's where the actual stem will join the leaf, and then I draw the rough leaf shape on there, cut that out, and there's your leaf. I want to give this a little bit more texture, so I'm using the end of a ball stylus here and going through it, putting some veins on, and then where each vein is, I fold it on itself, and that gives it a little bit more of the texture and the shape. You don't have to have the veins on the ones I made previously. Don't forget, check out that video as well, because they're quite gothic, and there's 3 different types of flowers on that one. I'll link it at the end of this video. But by folding them on themselves, it gives it a little bit more texture and leaf-like. And then once you've got that like that, all I do is run a bead of glue down the middle there, add my stem to that, fold it on itself, or I just leave it and let it be flat. Now the next thing is to put this together, and again I use my glue gun. All I do, put a bit of glue in there, put that in the middle, and put it like that. And can you see how really pretty, now they're dry, that two-tone effect is? And I'll just go through, altering them so they're not all the leaves and petals are lined up in the same place, and then push that into there. I will take all the little spidery bits off as well that the glue gun leaves. And then the final centre one goes in. And let this cool down before you do the next stage. And then I cut that off so it's nice and straight like that. Take my scissors and just cut through it. You can either have 3 or 4 bits coming off. It's entirely up to you. Bend those back. Then I fill that hole with glue, and then put some glue on each one of those bits. Turn that over, and then place that in the middle of that there, and then push that down and let that dry off. Clear up some of me cobwebby bits as well. Bend it a little bit here. Don't go too harsh. And then I pull the back into a rounded shape there, because this is where I'll stick my leaves. Now, I always place my leaves on first and think, yeah, that's right sort of place. Trim that off, run a bit of glue onto there, and then put that leaf on. And then this one I'll put just below it. You don't need any wires or anything, they'll stay in that position. I've done the other 2 exactly the same. Now this one I'm going to leave with the multicolours like that, but this one I'm going to add a bit of more colour to it. And what I'm going to be using for that is my Spectrum Noir pens. I'm using the brush end, and I'm using an olive green, but you use whatever colour you want to use. Bring that in, put some bits in it, some rough lines in it, all the way through. On both colours. Well, there we go, that one's finished now. I like the way that the bits of green just sparkle up. I've also brought out some veins in the leaves as well. That's the other type, which is just the 2 coloured papers. And that's the one with the bleach on, which gives it that really two-tone effect. Which one do you like the best? I'd love to know in the comments which one you think looks the best. You could make a really pretty little bouquet of those as well. Please move that like button if you've enjoyed this video, and hit that subscribe button as well so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Got some great projects coming up soon. If you'd like to buy me a coffee or get hold of anything that I've used today, then I will link everything in the description below as well, so it's easy for you to get hold of. Take care, enjoy your crafting, bye.